Europe's eastern flank just shifted from concern to hair trigger ready.
I'm in a glass case of emotion.
BRICS capitals are flexing in courts, at sea, and on the drill fields.
Kind of a big deal.
Really?
Drones, tariffs, and Coast Guard rammings are now frontline geopolitics.
60% of the time, it works every time.
That doesn't make sense.
All right, mandatory fun day. This is Worldwide Wednesday. Here's everything you need to know in a couple minutes. As I've done in many videos, and I will continue to do, I will be reading some of my favorite comments at the end. And I'll be talking about a wild thing that happened with China and the Philippines. Somebody did a goof and they rammed each other with boats. We had our first NATO shootdown of Russian drones and there was some messy aftermath. Let's talk about it. Clusters of 19 to 21 Russian drones violated Polish airspace across the east, center, and north. Reuters calls Poland's response the first known NATO member shootdown during the Ukraine war. NATO's move was on September 12th and announced Operation Eastern Sentry to bolster the entire eastern flank after the incursion. Denmark and France got involved with some aircraft and a frigate. Germany launched a couple Eurofighters. Spain and the UK added their own air assets. I mean, it was just a whole hullabaloo.
And I'm really proud of our fighter jet pilots doing this and our commanders in contact with them, coordinating.
The UK's Minister of Defense noted that the move followed Poland's request for Article 4 consultations at NATO on September 10th. You guys didn't see it, but I just killed another fly in my studio. A house in Poland was struck during the operation, and new evidence suggests it was likely a Polish F-16 missile with a guidance malfunction, not necessarily a Russian drone, but there is an ongoing probe. Poland's rules of engagement are likely to get very real very quickly because this was a real kinetic event that occurred. The fact that something truly did happen physically, tangibly, kinetically means that they are now going to have to establish policy for if it happens again. It's one thing to say we're going to do X if Y happens, but when X really does happen and you have that new data, you know, I mean, things change. I would expect faster NATO sensor fusion and counter-UAS layering along that border, plus closer Polish-Ukrainian operational coupling. They're going to want to integrate way more now that this has happened. They're going to want to be able to work in tandem. And anytime you're talking about two countries working together, it's hard enough when different military services within the same country work together. When you're talking about two different countries, different cultures, different ways that they operate, different languages, it makes everything way more difficult. Oh my God, another fly, dude. On September 15th, the UK confirmed RAF Typhoons will fly air defense missions over Poland under NATO's new Eastern Sentry. Basing and support for the sorties will come from Lincolnshire with RAF Voyager tankers from Briz Norton. Missions start in the coming days, is what they said. Why is this happening now, though? The UK cites the reckless and dangerous Russian drone violation of Poland and a subsequent breach of Romanian airspace as the trigger. I've killed like 3 flies. I literally spent like 10 minutes killing flies before I even started. I need to get a trap. UK statements stress deterrence and readiness to defend NATO airspace. Press reports frame these as shoot-down authorized air defense tasks. The Allied frame to all of this is that the announcement comes alongside French, German, and Danish commitments into the same mission set. So there's some cross-leveling of like responsibility, and also just by the nature of that, so some risk assumption by all these countries. Took me a second to gather my thoughts there, my goodness. This is also a very clear front that all of these countries are putting together. Hey, keep your drones on your side. We don't want them. The UK also signals it'll take legal diplomatic punches alongside kinetic readiness, a combined deterrent message to Moscow. I want you guys to rank the most valuable allied rank the most valuable allied assets for Poland's air defense right now. Fighters, ground-based SAMs, jammers, or interceptor drone. What do you guys think? The video's not over, but I want to tell you about the mandatoryfunday.com. On there, we've got merch, hats, shirts. I feel like I say the same thing every time. I'm sorry. I'm a one-trick pony, guys. Members of the website get 20% off merch and access to exclusive content. I talk about my personal life, and you guys can see the slow decline of my mental health in real time on the website, locked behind a paywall. It's $5 a month, and you get 20% off merchandise, so it can quickly pay for itself if you guys want it. I'll love you regardless. Let's get back to the video. Oh, hold on. I've also got a link on the website to regulation compliant shirts, so check that out too. If you're in the military, you know, you can wear that under your uniform. Late September 13th, Romania scrambled 2 F-16s, then 2 German Eurofighters on an air policing rotation after detecting a Russian-made drone crossing. It was 10 kilometers into Romanian airspace near the Danube Delta. Fighters shadowed the drone until it dropped off radar 20 kilometers southwest of Chilejevic. The local defense minister said pilots were close to engaging before it exited. Parliament had earlier approved a law enabling peacetime shootdowns of illegal drones based on threat level. Enforcement rules are still being finalized, but that's a move in the right direction for the country. Romania has repeatedly found Russian drone fragments on its territory since 2023. Allies condemned the latest NATO airspace violation. Romania is the southern bookend to Poland's crisis. Expect stricter engagement criteria, more NATO ISR over the Danube Delta, and closer coordination with Ukrainian air pictures. A single shoot-down decision here could ripple politically. I spittled a little Oh, there's another fly, you little Don't you fly off until I can zap you a little bit. Got it. Should Romania have fired or was restraint the smarter play? What do you guys think? Germany is extending its air policing and it's turning up the diplomatic heat. On September 11th and 12th, Berlin said it would extend and expand air policing over Poland following the incursion. Germany's Eurofighters are part of Eastern Sentry's initial package. The diplomatic step was Germany and France both summoning Russia's ambassadors over the drones, calling the act unacceptable. The EU angle was Germany also tied the response to pushing an EU 19th Russia sanctions package. This is a massive move for Germany. It signals an alignment between military presence and diplomatic signaling, useful domestically and regionally. I would watch for accelerated counter-UAS procurement and more joint quick reaction drills along multiple places and specifically Baltic approaches. Let's move to BRICS. Let's talk about Russia's Zapad 2025 drills with Belarus on NATO's doorstep. September 12th through 16th, Zapad 2025 ran across sites in Belarus and parts of Russia, testing repel, attack, /territorial integrity scenarios per official lines. Belarus publicly cited thousands of troops on its side. Local press said 6,000 Belarusians, 7,000 total on Belarusian ground. Other reports described broader Union state activity. It was an unusual optic. The U.S. sent military observers, first such attendance since Russia's 2022 invasion. In the run-up, Poland's posture was that it closed all crossings with Belarus and tightened airspace. EU warned of trade route impacts from the closure. Fry that bitch up. Smells like victory. Moscow's getting training value from this and leverage. It normalizes large-scale movements while probing NATO's intel picture and political cohesion. If Eastern Sentry hardens, I would expect Russia to mirror with rotational snap drills and nuclear-capable signaling, forcing Europe into a permanent high-alert economy. Do you think letting U.S. observers in reduces risk, or does it legitimize the drills? What do you guys think? China and the Philippines. This is the story you've all been waiting for. It's the one that I mentioned earlier. I just assumed that you guys wait on my every word, hand and foot. On September 16th, China's Coast Guard used high-pressure water cannons on Philippine vessels. They did this at Scarborough Shoal, injuring one and damaging a fisheries ship per Manila. China's claim, Beijing said that the Philippine ships illegally invaded the shoal's waters. It released video alleging 3014 rammed a Chinese ship. The Philippines responded. The PCG said it was on a humanitarian resupply to support Filipino fishing boats and called China's narrative disinformation. The clash came a week after China approved plans to designate a national nature reserve at the shoal, seen by analysts as a legal political step to entrench control. The 2016 Hague ruling rejected China's sweeping South China Sea claims. Beijing does not accept that. China's literally been building man-made islands in that area, trying to just do anything it can to take that territory. It looks like Beijing is shifting from harassment to administration. Paper laws backed by holes. Expect Manila to double down on allied patrols, documentation ops, and possibly lawfare at various governing bodies. The collision raises the odds of unplanned escalation if a Philippine crewman is seriously hurt again on camera. If you were advising the Philippines, which lever would you use next? Multinational escorts, economic counters, or international arbitration? A 5-justice Supreme Court panel convicted Jair Bolsonaro of organizing a criminal conspiracy to overturn the 2022 election and sentenced him to 27 years and 3 months in prison. He remains under house arrest pending appeals. Brazil's lower house fast-tracked an amnesty bill that could benefit convicted participants in the January 8th riots and plot, potentially including Bolsonaro, depending on final text. Coverage shows deep polarization with rallies for and against the ruling as Bolsonaro's legal team prepares challenges. Do you think a heavy sentence depolarizes Brazil, or does it pour fuel on 2026? Let's get into some comments. Craig the Moose. I imagine that you could be either the best guy or the worst guy to in the barracks, a tent, a dugout on a 50-kilometer ruck, in a tank, in a hospital, carry a stretcher, in the showers, walking down the aisle, being a little spoon. So you're saying I could be the best or the worst guy literally anywhere in any scenario? Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Craig. Thanks for stating what is true. Yeah, I could. I love you, Craig. Pedro Bo said screeches. Did someone say Geneva suggestions? Scataminky said man is over here docking tisms. Oh, that was in a previous video. I knew I was going to pay for that. Jared Brown 6909 says thanks for being entertaining and informative. LLTB, which means live, laugh, toaster bath. You live, laugh, toaster bath, brother. The graphic inserts and the narration are always a highlight from the daily, day-to-day, making me say heck yeah every Wednesday. Thank you very much. That is my buddy Steve. He does all of that. He does a very good job editing my videos. Stuart DeFord says, let's dock our tisms, and then he did this number, which I didn't know that was an option. I thought it was just like this. But thanks, man. I'll dock my tism with you anytime you want. You tell me where. Flutie Cutie says, just when I thought I couldn't like you more than I already did, you go and play a clip from Goon. Bless you, sir. That was also Steve's idea. That was Steve, my video editor's idea. I'm not taking any credit for stuff that is not mine, okay? Ona Sick One said, we can dock and touch boats when and wherever Studley bubbles. I don't know who Studley is, and I don't know why he's bubbling. That sounds like a condition he should talk to his doctor about. Last time I was this fast, my wife was upset with me. That's a dirty joke. Bro said he's not a piece of meat while looking all tasty. Russia and NATO need to learn to dock their tisms. Yes, they do. Okay, we all need to just get along. Okay, it's getting out of hand. What's with your eyes, bro? I can't tell if they're too close together or way too far apart. Either way, I think you might have brain damage. I still think you're funny though. Keep it up, slow lane. Oh God, sanctions are the gentle parenting of international diplomacy. That's kind of true if depending on the country we're talking about, but sanctions can really, really hurt a lot of countries. It's just there are a lot of countries, specifically BRICS countries, that have been trying to make themselves like sanction proof. And so, and who knows how sanction proof they truly are, because a lot of those countries are just exceptionally good at information ops or psyops or propaganda, whatever you want to call it, right? And I get it. I already know the comments that are going to come out of that statement. But yeah, I get what you're saying, but you can't go in guns blazing in every situation. And I'm not trying to lecture here. You very well may know more than I do about this stuff, but that's my take. Thanks a lot for reading the comments, guys. Here's a punchy outro. Borders are getting tested, alliances are drilling together, and the gray zone isn't getting any less gray. I'm Mandatory Fun Day. This was Worldwide Wednesday, and that was everything you needed to know in a couple minutes.